Kumasaka, looking desperate, called out to Tozawa, apologizing while stepping towards her. Tozawa asked why he was apologizing while stepping away from him. Almost crying, Kumasaka says that Tozawa has been keeping her distance from him, clearly upsetting him. Blushing, she lies, saying that she is not keeping away from him. Kumasaka then begs her to move closer, but Tozawa says that she can't. Letting out a roar and becoming more bear-like, Kumasaka demands to know why she won't stay close. Tozawa, changing from a panther to a mouse, squeaks and flees from him. Kumasaka, panting heavily, comments on how fast Tozawa is, even in heels, as she nimbly weaves through the crowds of people in the street. As she continues to dodge Kumasaka, Tozawa trips in her heels, beginning to fall face first due to her momentum. Just before she hits the ground, Kumasaka caught her, grabbing her under the arms. He told her, gasping between breaths, that he got her, shocking Tozawa. Kumasaka brought Tozawa to a bench so they could talk, but it looked more akin to a bear carrying a rabbit. Kumasaka seemed determined while Tozawa whimpered in defeat. Kumasaka asked if she's not mad, then why is she dodging him so avidly? Tozawa hesitated but begins to explain. She told him that she saw how Kumasaka hated the rugby manager touching all over him and realized she'd been doing it constantly without knowing his feelings about it. Kumasaka explains that it was because he didn't know her well, but he does know Tozawa. He added that if he didn't like it, he'd tell her like a normal person. Teary-eyed, Tozawa asks if he's being honest, with Kumasaka adding that he is, and he'd allow her to even... but he was cut off. Tozawa exclaims that he'd let her touch him all she wanted, while she twinkled with excitement. Kumasaka starts to agree before realizing what Tozawa had said, confusing him. Tozawa began to put her hands on him, causing Kumasaka to blush. He tried to say that she's not wrong, but he meant something else. However, Tozawa was already in her happy little world. She began to rub his chest faster and faster, while Kumasaka questioned why it ended up this way, before accidentally letting out a moan. Happily rubbing Kumasaka's chest, she thinks to herself that she's not giving up on her goal of sleeping with Kumasaka. While having lunch together, Kumasaka let out a yelp of pain, causing Tozawa to ask if he's okay. He explains that it's just nothing really, it's only a splinter. Tozawa questions Kumasaka on his pronunciation. Kumasaka explains that it's just a splinter and he accidentally said it in his Hiroshima accent. Tozawa, shocked, asked if Kumasaka was from Hiroshima, which he confirms. She asks him to speak more in his accent, which he says is embarrassing, but decides to do it. With a sigh, he begins to speak in his accent, complimenting the beauty of Tozawa's hair and how it's so gorgeous that he wants to run his fingers through it. It was a critical hit on Tozawa, exploding with emotions and begging him to just hug her already as she clutched at herself and blushed heavily. Kumasaka, confused, yells out why she wanted that. Tozawa asked Kumasaka if he didn't get tired with his brows constantly being furrowed, with him explaining it's a habit now so he can't stop. Tozawa, taking the opportunity to touch Kumasaka, offered to massage him to help loosen up his brows. Kumasaka blushed in surprise but thanked Tozawa for it. Seeing Kumasaka's expression, Tozawa announced that it might be more difficult to do as Kumasaka looked more like a demon than a relaxed man. Tozawa ended up asking Kumasaka what's wrong with him and why he looked like a playboy from a spicy manga, which stunned Kumasaka. Tozawa sat Kumasaka down, telling him to not be nervous and just relax. He blushed, almost whispering that it's impossible. Giving her softest expression, she told him that she'll try again if that's okay. Now more relaxed and accepting, Kumasaka's expression softened too, causing him to look more like his gentle personality. Tozawa, overwhelmed by his adorable face, speaks out loud saying that she can't show this face to anyone, wanting to treasure it all for herself. Meanwhile, Kumasaka told her that she had a terrible face as he saw her blush and drool and looking a hot mess.